Hey all, finally gonna get the Mercury back on the road hopefully today. I've actually started pulling it apart already and then realized I should have set the camera up. So we're just gonna jump to what I found. So I've dropped the tank as far as I can without disconnecting the filler nozzle. And as you remember, it was pouring gas out of the right wheel well. So if I go look up in here, this line, which I don't know yet whether it's the feed or the return, but I suspect it's the return, got pinched completely between the tank and the body when I installed the new fuel tank. And it's now flat, like it's now permanently in the shape because it is a 30-year-old line. So what I think I need to do at this point, obviously this line's going to need to be replaced. Like, I don't know if that's where my leak is. I don't know if that's seeping or not, but... Oh, that's the vapor line. It actually says vapor on it. Okay. But I don't know if that's the source of my rather dramatic leak, but it's from somewhere up there because those run up on top of the frame rail, and that's where my leak is. New discovery, more problems, but also probably my solution. That's wet. That is the hard line for the fuel line. It comes up off the tank, loops around, connects there. You can see the end of the connector just behind that sort of bit that sticks down. And then a couple of inches in, it is wet. So that's my leak. That is the main fuel line. So that's not just a case of it leaks when it's full. That's wind just blew sand directly into my eyeball. So that hard line becomes a soft line again over here and connects into the fuel filter. So I think what I'm gonna do is maybe simplify that by just running a soft line the entire way. Probably see if I can sheath it in something, but I think that's the easiest way to fix this because that metal line has got the body basically right on top of it, so there's no real way to get in there and reinstall it easily. So I think I'm going to go with a soft line to replace it, but it's also going to depend on what I can find at the store. So searching for parts commences. All right, so we're back. Again, this is our bad fuel line up here. Turns out, much to my, let's go with delight, replacing this is going to be complex because this fuel line has a specialized fitting on one end to fit the clip-on Ford connector, and on the other end it's barbed and is slid into the nylon fuel line for no logical reason. So I have a variety of things with which to try and fix this problem. What I'm going to try and do is remove that old fuel line and cut it, like unbolt it from the car and cut it off where it joins the nylon line. And then I'm going to take the 5/16 one of these, put a bit of a curve in it, plug this one into the line off the tank, and then on this end I'm going to hook this Ford repair line and then use either the barbed connection in here or these nylon fuel line unions to connect this to the existing fuel line that goes to the fuel pump, fuel filter. And I'm hoping that'll fix it. It's going to be a little jank, but these are kind of my options because this fuel line that's on here, they don't sell these fittings usefully separately. The fuel line is permanently attached to it. This is a pre-molded fuel line with a sheath cover on it. And then even if I tried to make another one, this nylon hose here is like $100 a spool, and I would need to buy an entire spool. They don't sell it in shorter lengths. So trying to replace this, the metal line, and the bit that just before the fuel filter with one line would be over $100 just for the fuel line. So this is I spent a lot on all of this, but I'm going to be able to return a chunk of it. Like, I know I don't need these. I'm almost certain I'm not going to need that. I might not need this, so we're going to save some money that way. But we're going to get to work on this. I'm going to set you up on time-lapse, but you're probably not going to be able to see much because it's all going to be crammed up in here. I'm not going to be able to see much. So we're going to do what we can do. All right, got this stupid thing out, and that was a horror show. I have no idea how I'm getting the new one in. That's going to be so much fun. But yeah, this line is wrecked. This was where the leak was, which I then flexed more to get out. But this line is probably not long from just bursting any which place it feels like it. So what I'm going to do is cut this off here, and then attach this to it. I'm probably going to slip something over this to protect it, and then this, and then that. I think I'm going to have to like move like the end of this where it connects. I can probably stretch it a little bit so that I can get an extra inch, because this is going to be a very tight lengthwise, but we'll figure it out. Time to start hacking, I guess, and see what I can do. At least I'm putting in separate pieces, so they're gonna not, I don't have to snake every single one up through the same area. All right, so we're on day 2 of this project. I didn't film it because it was just lots of foul language, but I got the tank back up in here. I still have to get one of the straps securing it in. I had to buy some more hardware for that. I've replaced the vent line. I ended up having to just use regular automotive fuel hose because that's what they had. I haven't connected it just because I haven't trimmed the other end yet. This is the old but good flex nylon line to the tank. So what I'm basically going to end up having to do, I don't remember how much of this was in the previous video, but I got this thing, which is a metal pipe that has the correct connectors for these on either end. And the original one, the pipe went down here, had a barbed fitting on the end, and then went back to more of the nylon line, and then there was a 90-degree fitting and it hooked into the fuel filter. So what I ended up finding, and believe me, this took a ridiculous amount of time, is a straight on 5/16 forward fitting on a 5/16 line and a 90-degree forward fitting on a 5/16 line. This is ridiculously hard to accomplish because almost every single place sells this fitting, the straight on one on a 3/8 line and the 90-degree on a 5/16 line, which you can't connect to the 2/2. So that was needlessly overly complicated. But basically my plan is to use this to come off this metal pipe and down somewhere in that area, and have this one hooked to the fuel filter down there and come back up, and somewhere where it's convenient the two shall meet and be connected with the little barb fitting that's in the package here. So hopefully that'll get this all dealt with and I'll be able to get this thing back on the road. P.S. Ford, I hate you so much. Now to put these two lines together, you have to soak the nylon lines in hot water to soften them up so you can then shove them together. So yes, you're standing in my bathroom with me staring at me warming pipe. Congratulations, this is your life now. I'm not filming this the whole time because I need both hands. I've managed to get it about half on, but despite cycling out the water in the sink so it's still hot, I can't get it to soften enough for me to get it the rest of the way on. So I have a kettle on, and I'm basically going to fill this with boiling water. Hopefully that'll soften it enough that I can then jam it together that way. All right, finally got it in there. It was a miserable job, but it's bottomed out on both sides, which means that it's locked in there the way it needs to be, which means that this can go back in the car. So I slit a piece of 5/16 fuel line, because it's what I had, and slipped it over this to basically be a protection against abrasion. And then I'm going to be feeding this back up under the frame and through, so I stuffed this end with a paper towel so that I'm not shoving bits of rust and dirt into the pipe as I shove it through. So what I now need to do is get this on the other side of the frame. Here is where the fuel filter is. I need to get it up in there, through here, up here, hook it to that, and then secure stuff in place, and I will be done. You know what, I'm not even going to bother trying to film it because I can't, there's no place I can put the camera where we'll be able to see any useful amount of it, so I'll catch up with you all once I have it in. All right, we are in, hooked up, the vent line's hooked up, this is in, it's run down through here, and then comes down and connects to the fuel filter here. And none of it's stressed. There's no points where it's like forced hard against anything in a way that I'm concerned about. So I think we're going to call that done. I'm going to fire it up, see whether it pees gasoline or not. And if it doesn't pee gasoline, then I'm going to call it good. All right, I just took the wagon out, filled the gas tank up to the top, and no leaks. There's no puddle on the ground. There's no gasoline smell, so I can judge this one fixed, which means I can drive the wagon again, which is great because I've been missing it. I haven't driven it since actually before I bought the Magnum, which is good because this was one of the vehicles that the Magnum was supposed to replace, and since I'm selling the Magnum, it's going to be nice to be able to have the wagon to drive. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and have a good night.